So it's been a good long while since I've taken a look at Corto Maltese. Thanks for all the views on that video, by the way. I was not expecting that. I also wasn't expecting my router to shuffle off the mortal coil this week, so sorry for the wait on the video. The nice thing about Corto Maltese is that you can basically drop in every story and get the gist of what's going on. In this selection of stories, you do get similar elements as well, specifically with the overarching plot revolving around two loving siblings, maybe a bit too loving, and their ties to their father's business. There is a much bigger cast throughout this story besides the children. We have Dr. Steiner, who was a good friend of Bertram's father, and a couple of voodoo priests. The combination of the mystic and forgotten civilizations makes this a more exciting read than the Ballad of the Salty Sea, in my opinion. We also get a better look at Corto's character in this part. While he still has a soft side to him, we get a more cynical and calculating side as well. For example, his conversation with Goldmouth perfectly illustrates his detached mentality. Considering the amount of different cultures and types of people that he interacts with, I imagine that would make him very open and skeptical to other people's values. Unlike in Ballad of the Salty Sea, there is no main villain like the monk in this. Instead, we get a wide variety of different villains with different motives. I didn't find any of them all that memorable, but the overall cast of characters, at least in the supporting role, are really fun. And yes, Rasputin shows up in this one as well, and he's a little salty after what happened in the last story. He shows up in one of the best parts of the story where we are introduced to a character named Ambiguity. Yes, that's really her name, and yeah, she looks like that.
Holy shit!
The main goal is trying to find some type of lost gold, and it's just a really fun story with a great twist at the end. Part of what makes these stories so great to go and read is the pacing between lengthy dialogue and action. Hugo Pratt knows when to pull back. It's a real shame that sometimes the action can feel really stiff when it starts to involve fist fighting. From what I've read, these were made about 2 years after the Salty Sea, and you can see how much improvement there is in the artwork category. The faces look a lot more consistent, and the characters look a lot more expressive. I feel as a whole there is more substance in Capricorn 2. One of my favorite scenes involves a tribesman taking the role as a new revolutionary, only to be shot down in a conflict. Corto gives a passionate speech that I feel is very relevant even to this day. It ends with a story about a missionary group and their conflict with a killer from their past. It's really tense and interesting to read. It's one of my favorites out of the story. It's always exciting to come back to Corto Maltese after being away so long and seeing where things have improved. I'm not entirely sure of this, but this is one of the Corto Maltese stories that I've heard a lot about, and I can see why. I think it's a pretty solid string of stories. For now, I'm going to set my sights on other things, but I will return to him again at some point.